Okay, Brazil match point in this $400 best of seven between China and Brazil. This was SY map pack. This map, I believe, is called Seize the Hump. We can see that both teams start with all their players with TCs just clumped together on a tiny island of land in amongst the swamp. There's a little bit of fish in these shallows, but arguably not really worth going for. I've seen some teams go names dock these and try and do a little bit of fishing, but it's really kind of variable. Players saying what is that and CNEFP. I think they must have just had a massive lag spike, and you can see there was also a pause here where they were saying start the game and yes, let's go. But basically, players have some sheep, boar, and deer to help them get up to the feudal age at least here. But beyond that, like no berries, very little in the way of wood, and it's basically a kind of migration where you can walk towards the middle. But unlike migration on in the kind of standard AOC map pool, there is a ton of stuff in the middle. It's an absolute treasure trove of resources just everywhere. So no problem finding resources. Unlike sometimes like you land the middle island in migration and then all the gold is like somewhere that's not where you are, and you end up being unable to find it. But as long as the players kind of strike out early enough and start building up in the middle, they'll be fine in this map. You can see that in terms of civilizations, we've got Mongols, Persians, Vikings, and Spanish for the Chinese. So once again, going with the Chinese, the Chinese once again going with Spanish. Like they really love the Spanish trade bonus in particular, it seems. And who can blame them after the kind of devastating effect that had in game one, where the just ridiculous amount of trade they had really turned the game in the long term. But the Brazilian team going with Mayans, Vikings, Persians, and Mongols. So the difference there is the Mayans, Fire sticking to Mayans as his civilization, whereas the Chinese not opting to go for them. I've seen games where Mayans have been pretty effective on this map. Like 2 or 3 times I've seen it, perhaps played at a really high level. So it'd be interesting to see what effect Fire has there. Like if he's able to make the difference with the power of like the Mayans early Imperial Age, for example, or raiding with plumed archers in the Castle Age. Obviously, because the players are forced to strike out towards the middle of the map. They're not able to build their bases up from the start of the Dark Age with like palisade walls and things to kind of defend themselves going forward in the game, which means that they might be a little bit more open to raiding, and especially like you can't team wall everything so much because units could come in off the shallows. You see they even go right to the edge of the map, it's going to be kind of a bit messy to try and wall everything in the middle. So some Castle Age raiding, some Castle Age aggression will be expected here, although this is obviously a very, very large middle area as well, and the teams do start very far away. But for now, we won't see anything much happening for the next few minutes because a drush on this map would just be pretty silly, I think, basically because the distance, and you'd obviously also need that 10 gold as well, like if you're going to do the 3 militia, and the gold's all absolutely miles away, so you're pretty much okay, I thought nothing was going to happen, but we are going to see Lix try and steal a boar from the Brazilian team, which is pretty funny to actually happen on this map and for him to take it all the way across the map. But yeah, like I was going to say, you wouldn't see a drush on this map. Like normally, you might see some feudal aggression from some players, particularly like one player going scouts and trying to harass the enemy team as they kind of migrate to the middle land. We do see that sometimes, and I wonder if that's what the Mongol players are doing. We can see Riot and Yo both going up really, really fast here on 18 and 19 pop respectively, so we could see scout rushes coming out from both of them potentially. Although, you do need to secure a good amount of food resource. Obviously, you don't have berries and stuff from the start of the game, so it could be a little bit difficult to kind of maintain that like food gathering and then the scout production off that. You see I was just kind of trying to relocate the boar. I was going to flick back to Lix's scout, but he didn't actually manage to be successful with that. But it's still, like, on a map when you don't have any berries, and okay, the deer are actually very, very easy to take. But stealing a boar from one of the players, like, I don't know whose it was. It's probably Goku's or Miguel's. So it's really nice to just kind of delay them a little bit. Like just pushing out here with 2 villagers, getting that barracks up. Gonna hit the feudal age right now. I assume gonna just instantly drop a stable when he gets there. Looks like he's ready and waiting to do that. There we go. So Riot going scouts. Is Yo doing the same thing? Yo's barracks is here, stable and at home, so scouts going to be coming from a little bit further away. Map is called Seize the Hump. Fittingly, there's a hump in the middle of the map, which you have to seize. Cringe. But yeah, just waiting for, like, all the players obviously kind of migrating villages to the middle as well, so they can start taking gold and securing a better wood line, and also might be take some stone and stuff like that. Think about doing some walling in the middle, but just a little bit of a kind of lull in the action until the scouts are out at the least. But obviously, like with all the villagers that need to kind of move to the middle of the map, like, and they're being, you know, if the teams haven't lost any scouts, then they've got 4 scouts at this point with which they can kind of group up and pick off villagers that are migrating as well, which is also a little bit of a possibility. And like we did see something like that happening here, but I don't think any villagers being picked up by any players. But now Lix is going for a kind of man at arms forward. So I said we wouldn't see a drush, but 4 villagers, militia coming out on stone as well. 1 villager on gold, so he's going to be doing man at arms plus towers forward, backed up by the scouts from Yo when they arrive. And for the Brazilian team, they've got Riot doing scouts, but I don't know if anybody else is doing military to help defend at this point. It's an interesting strategy to kind of tower stuff on this, because obviously you can keep the enemy team off gold and stuff, but there is a lot of gold on the map that they can spread out to. But at the same time, it's a really nice play to kind of take away the mines that are closest to the enemy, just across the shallows. Villager for Lix is going to go down there though, and another one. Okay, that one's still got a decent amount of HP, but Ria's got a good number of scouts there that are on those villages, and looks like Lix didn't even get the man-at-arms upgrade and for his militia. He's got 1 idle to the left over here, and then other one kind of out of the picture here. Yo's getting in and trying to kind of protect Lix's forward units and ensure that this forward doesn't end up just being one massive fail. But Lix has been completely driven back. He hasn't. Okay, he's got 1 militia alive doing nothing. But 2 of his villages went down. The other 2 were damaged and not building any towers. So Lix sent 4 villagers forward on this map as Spanish, and then was mining a ton of stone and everything, and has basically achieved nothing with it and lost a bunch of villagers, as well as severely slowing down his eco, considering he was on stone and gold with I think 4 villagers in total across the 2 resources really early. So Lix not in a great position at this point, it has to be said. We see his villager count falling well behind other players, and those villagers even suffering the misfortune of running into a wolf, but that male one will survive on low hit points. Everybody else just kind of moving out, securing some resources for themselves. Don't see too much else going on. Both scout players just kind of moving around, kind of maybe looking for some more enemy villages to pick off, but not going to commit to a fight. Lix will tower this wood line, but you know the amount of damage that's going to do at this point, not a great deal. There's wood everywhere that Riot can move that lumber camp to. Miguel and Goku both taking gold from over here. Looks like Goku decided to relocate his gold location at the moment, basically, that Lix started towering and attacking here, because we saw Lix actually started building a tower, must have deleted it, and Goku just ran away and took gold from the same place that Miguel is taking it. That tower has gone up for Licks, and I'm going to interrupt Riet's wood gathering location just for a moment, but really, it's not going to do a great deal of damage. Riet's up to 6 scouts. Yinghua has actually gone with the dock approach, but it's not going to be great for him. He's got 3 fishing ships, but this is the nearest deep fish. He's actually taking a deep fish from down here when he docks up here. Holy crap, like, if you had a dock here, it'd take these 3 deep fish. I mean, obviously, I'm looking at the whole map, they can't see it, but I'm just, if he'd either scouted the area, or been fortunate enough to kind of happen upon it, then, like, that would have been a nice dock. For the other team, like, they could have done a good dock down here, but again, like, why would you scout the back corner of the map for the shallows looking for fish, particularly? So everything seems to have calmed down a little bit now after that initial aggression and push forward by Licks was rebuffed. Fire heavily on stone, so he's going to be going with the castle as mines, so we're going to seeing plumed archers from him in the near future, just about to hit the castle age as well. So I mentioned that earlier at the start as being a difference between the two teams, like that exceptional raiding capability of the plumed archers will be in play for Brazil, but not so much for the Chinese, well, not at all for the Chinese team because they don't have the mines. Instead they have the Spanish, so let's see if Licks is, like what Licks is thinking of doing, because at the moment he basically GG'd his own eco because he was on a ton of stone and gold while sending 4 villages forward and losing them all, and he's sitting on 100 food now with 31 pop at minute 18, which is not ideal. So he's not going to be like replying to Fire's plumed archer raiding that he's going to do with Conquistador raiding. He'll be lucky to be in the feudal age by like the castle age by about minute 25 at this rate. Might just see him continue to just kind of be annoying with towers and stuff. Meanwhile, Miguel's on Persian Knights, looking to try and break into the wood lines of the Chinese team, but I doubt he'll be able to be successful with any of that. He might be able to kill Love Cheng's fishing ships, which is will just be funny because they were useless anyway, pretty much. I mean, okay, you get the food from that, but look where you've got to take it. It's ridiculous. +1 Bloodline Knights for Miguel though, so able to go pretty aggressive and withstand a little bit of arrow fire from TCs and stuff. But the thing with this map, like raiding the starting area of the teams is pretty difficult just because the compact nature of it. Like all the town centres start so close together that you'll find isolated villages on farms and little these stands of trees and stuff, but you are going to be for the most part taking a lot of TC fire as you run around trying to find the villages that you can kill. It's an interesting thing that Licks has managed to do here. He's got a couple of spearmen, first of all, just kind of wandering around being annoying. But he's also put a tower here. I don't think he's going to hit that gold. Like, even with fletching, I don't think he'll hit the gold villagers. Maybe only if, like, one walks around here. Like, he might then... Yeah, I think if he gets fletching, he might be able to hit these when they're kind of there. But I doubt any villagers put here will be getting hit by that tower. But I said he was going to try and be annoying, and that is the kind of thing to do, I think. if your aim is just to be annoying in a game. But Riet getting in, like, normally... Get towards 21 minutes in a team game, you think how useful a scout's going to be. Maybe not that useful, but Riet doing great damage to Love Cheng's woodline here, picking up a number of villages here, and although he'll be chased away by knights, that's a really nice return on investment on those scouts at a point when you wouldn't have expected the investment to yield much more considering the game time that's on the clock. But that's this map for you. Everyone's bases are just kind of... As I was saying, like, everything's so fragmented and you can't kind of plan the way you're going to wall yourself up from the first minutes with, like, your Dark Age palisading and walling and everything. Licks is still being annoying, but once again, like, there's only so much you can do with towers on this map because there are just resources everywhere to move to. And the thing is, like, Lick's going to carry on doing this, but he's never getting to the Castle Age. He's still 250 food away. It's like my minute 25 estimate might end up being generous. The map is, once again, it's Siege the Hump, which is a part of the SY map pack. In the Nations Cup, there were various games played on this map. And once again, we've got kind of a lull. We're seeing, I think, both players who are producing knights, so both Persian players, that being Lovecheng and Miguel again, they seem to just love having knight wars, paladin wars. Both of them did +2 armor on their knights, circling around, looking for something to do. But Miguel also adding in camels to help him kind of fight off Lovecheng's knights, where I think Lovecheng is just pure knights at this point. So a slightly more defensive unit composition / choice for Miguel, you could possibly say. Although the thing is, like, if you go aggressive with knights and then mix in some camels with the knights, it still allows you to be aggressive. You just got to stay away from TCs basically. I love these fishing ships are getting destroyed by Paladin. Sorry, Paladin's fishing ships are getting destroyed. It's just so funny. It's like it's just rubbing salt in the wound. It's like your fishing ship sucked. It's taking like a journey of 100 tiles to get to the fish, and I'm going to destroy it anyway. He obviously hasn't seen this marlin jumping out of the water here. I mean, that would be much better. It would still suck, but it would be much better. Meanwhile, Fire just Vil bashed this tower of Licks. Probably got, more than anything, he probably got annoyed by the kind of horns just blaring out every time the tower was attacking his mining camp, or just managed to get a glancing blow on a Vil as it dropped off the gold. Riet's still picking up kills with these scouts as well. Doing an amazing job with those. I'm reminded of a quote where somebody was like saying something about how they were defending from scouts, and somebody says, like, why are you overreacting to those scouts? You know, there's only some scouts, and somebody says, they are not scouts, they are Riet scouts. You know, I think Riet's scout micro is feared by all within the Age of Empires community, and he's certainly showing that in this game. So both teams being forced to kind of spread their wings and build up their economies in different parts of the middle area now, and it's just increasing the raiding possibilities. It's really hard to kind of keep track of just a few knights and scouts just streaming in and hitting plumed archers as well, getting in on the action from Fire. But just streaming in, picking off Vils here and there. So it's getting kind of messy for both teams, but equally nobody doing any real big decisive push. It's just stuff like that. Oh, this is a little bit more kind of a solid push here, but it's going to be quickly reacted to by Miguel's knights and camels, and I think Lovecheng, if he stays there for too long, is going to get cleaned up. Under TC Fire also fighting camels. I mean, obviously he's doing good damage to Miguel. I think it was Miguel and maybe even some Goku's Vils going down as well. But Miguel is still ahead of Lovecheng on Vils, and it kind of takes on the complexion of that Ghost Lake game, whereas Miguel was just a tiny step ahead. Not massively, but a step ahead, and it kind of snowballed into the mid-Imperial Age, and Miguel has actually hit that Imperial Age as well. I assume he's probably been getting slung by Goku this entire time. We see Goku with the market as well, and he stayed in the Feudal Age. Licks, meanwhile, though, I don't know if... I mean, Licks has done a market, so maybe he started to sling, but he was so far behind. No, he didn't at all. Oh yeah, he did. He must have done, because Lovecheng has received a ton. I want to check who is actually sending that, because I haven't really been focusing on it just for now, and it just gives us a better picture of the game. It's actually Paladin sending the sling. Makes sense, because we haven't really seen him doing too much either, and he's still in the Feudal Age as well. So Licks just in the Feudal Age by choice here, just because of the strategy that he chose going forward, kind of having basically no villages on food for most of the time the other players are in Feudal Age, and getting stuck there forever, considering he just kind of made the choice to stay on stone and continue trying to be annoying with towers and stuff. Lovecheng is doing like decent amount with these knights on the left hand side, and he's going to pick up a good number of kills here actually. like Miguel seems slightly out of position to actually defend against this, and this is going to be lots of villager deaths here. But Miguel now with Cavalier, armor upgrade done already, and he's going to be able to fight this back pretty easily. Getting really hard to keep track of this. Like, the problem as a caster with this type of map, similar to Nomad, is that you don't really have the structure of the game with like flanks and pockets where you can kind of just, through seeing other games, just kind of instinctively feel like the pattern of the game and where people are going to be pushing and stuff like that. It's literally a case of just trying to follow X's on the minimap and follow the colours on the minimap and hope you find stuff. But really, it's still microing scouts. Like, what the hell? Why are these scouts not dead at this point? If they pick up any more kills... But everything seems pretty quiet apart from what's going on the left-hand side. Like, I can't see anywhere too much where major engagements are actually happening. Just as I was saying, just the odd unit here or there, just picking up a few villager kills. The main action having been Lubchen's push down here, which has been completely rebuffed by Miguel, who is going to have Paladin almost finished by the time Lubchen hits Imperial Age. And in terms of military numbers, roughly the same military numbers as well as Lubchen, so Miguel just really ahead in that regard. And in terms of military numbers for other players, like the Chinese team has nothing. Yo is on 2, and the 2 players who were like forever feudal, like feudal brothers, Paladin and Lix, still stuck in the feudal age with no military, and they're about to be pushed by fire with plumed archers plus Miguel's paladins kicking in way earlier than Cavalier and Paladin's going to kick in for Lubchen. And Yo has just kind of stayed on booming mode for the whole game, but he hasn't boomed because like his villager numbers just aren't there. I don't know like if he suffered too much raiding that we didn't see, but considering that he hasn't really gone aggressive, he's kind of well behind other players that have gone aggressive and built military. Admittedly, like Yinghua or Lubchen and Miguel did receive Sling, which explains it, but like Fire as Mayans really has more villagers than Yo's kind of freeboom Mongols. Plus has dropped to castle and made 20-25 plumes and done raiding and stuff, and he's ready to help Miguel push. So, good job by Fire. And Yo kind of not really in the game. Like, I don't want to discredit him too much in case there's something I missed, like maybe he suffered some raiding. But apart, like I guess the thing is he did scouts, and that slowed him down. But still, like, you would feel like he could just be a slight bit further ahead in the game than he is at present. Game sounds super loud. Not for your... Okay, that's good. I'm glad that my voice hasn't been obscured by the game sounds for the entire thing, but somebody's saying that it's fine, so I assume it's just an isolated thing for the one person, unfortunately. Fire doing a really good job as well. I was saying, like, he's stayed on the same number of villagers or more that Yo has had, whilst also being useful in a military sense. And now he's going to push out and deny this gold and stone, which is really close to where the Chinese team started off. And it's just kind of shutting down the number of resources they can take in relative safety close to their base, although they have kind of taken good map control on the left-hand side. However, I'm really distracted by Cannabis telling me happy birthday, because that wasn't me. I'm pretty sure that was intended for T90 official and not for me, or else he thought it was or else he thought it was my birthday, not T90. T90's birthday was last weekend, I think. Last Saturday. It's pretty funny. I'll have to deal with that after the game. Anyway, completely distracted by that. I was going to say, like, the Chinese are like taking good map control over on the left side, but Miguel is just completely slaughtering it. Just kind of roaming around with all his paladins, idling all the villagers. See, he's picked up tons of kills, skeletons everywhere. So like the fact that all of that's being idled and denied on the left, then Fire's pushing in and denying stuff on the right with castles and stuff. Miguel is continuing to just raid everywhere. The Chinese are going to be getting swamped. I can see your kind of list. Yeah, me, dude. It's pretty funny. Like, I wonder if he realizes he's talking to me and not T90 or he's confusing us. Oh, it's Fire's birthday, and we're seeing the messages that Cannibalist sent to Fire within the game. I'm sorry, but this birthday stuff is completely thrown me off from casting. But now Fire's in the chat. Yeah, good job, dude. I was complimenting that you were pushing as well as booming and staying ahead of you, but it was your birthday, and that's why. Yeah, you did well, so we could continue playing this whilst Cannabis was sending you all these messages. Anyway, Miguel continues to do Gud raiding and idle a lot of Love Cheng's economy on the left, sorry. But Love Cheng adding in heavy camel to try to deal with that paladin threat. And in terms of military numbers, okay, actually, he's still slightly behind Miguel, who probably be a good idea to switch to his point of view and switch to military view just to see where he is. Looks like he's massing here, ready for this push together with Fire's plumes, adding in some capped rams, and Fire's now onto elite plumed archers, getting in all the upgrades to finish off as well. Just needs chemistry and archer armor. And they'll be able to push in here, and really if they push in here, this is the main area that China are taking resources from in the middle of the map now. If they deny this area, it's going to kind of like take down some TCs and stuff. It's going to GG a lot of Love Cheng's eco in the middle, which will be really decisive for the Chinese team, because still Love Cheng is being tasked with defending them all. Yo on 10, well 9, 9 military, whilst Love Cheng is on 40 and his two teammates on 0. And they can't fight this because they're basically just leaving Love Cheng to play 1v4. And I think that's where they're GG'd. Like, Yo just wasn't ready in time. Like, on both sides there were two players who weren't really making military. But then for the Brazilian side, like they had two players pushing and making army earlier on, whereas like for the Chinese team it was 3. I completely lost my train of thought then. Sorry for stumbling over my words, but basically, yeah, it was basically a 2v1 because in terms of who was actually fighting and engaging in the game, because on the Brazilian side it was Miguel and Fire just raiding and pushing, whereas Love Cheng was tasked with defending the entire Chinese team from that raiding, and ultimately, like, he couldn't be everywhere at once. And I think that was decisive. So Brazil taking the series with a very, very good score of 4-1, winning that $400 and showing that in any kind of upcoming team game tournament that is on the horizon, and whisper it, but the Chinese have something big planned. Any kind of team which features this combination of Brazilian players and maybe also boosted by the Gao joining them as well would be a rival to a Chinese team in that kind of tournament, after taking these games very, very handily against what you'd have to say is more or less SYA. One or two notable absences, you could say, from players like James, number 23, although James hasn't really been on the scene for the Chinese team for a long time, I don't think. But yeah, really good win for Brazil there. But I guess the main thing is to look at military stats, and you see that like for the Chinese team it was basically only Love Cheng fighting, whereas Miguel did a better job than him, obviously because he wasn't completely carrying the whole burden for the team, but Fire actually getting a really good return on his units, kill to death ratio of around 2-1, doing significant damage as well, whereas nobody else on the Chinese team with so much of a squeak, really, in terms of actual fighting. So that was pretty funny because I was just completely thrown off by the messages from Cannibalist, thinking he thought it was my birthday. or was my birthday recently, but apparently that was actually Fire's birthday last Saturday. I think that means Fire and. Or maybe it wasn't last Saturday because Cannabis was saying, like, sorry, I was late and wishing you happy birthday or something, but it'd be funny if T90 and Fire share a birthday.